Hey guys, I'm Steve Hamilton and welcome to my garage. So I've got a little over 25 cars and everybody's always asking to see the full collection. We're gonna do just that today. We're gonna go through each vehicle and I'm gonna give you a little bit of information on each vehicle. So we pulled all these cars and then it rained, so they're not as clean as they should be, but that's okay. This is my 1967 Chevelle. It is the oldest car and the first one that I bought out of the whole entire collection. It means a lot to me. I've had this one forever and I have done a pretty much rotisserie rebuild of this thing. The entire body has been redone. It was tubbed in the rear. It has a Pro Touring suspension. It has a 496 big block in there. We're gonna show you guys that real quick too. I think this is the third motor I've been through. Every time I get a new motor, I break it in a little too hard and they start smoking really soon. So I should have just done fuel injected from the start, but we'll get there eventually. What else? So since I sell wheels and tires, naturally I had to put some awesome wheels and tires on it. We've got some Asante custom built. They actually built these wheels one off for me. This is the only set in existence in this style. We did some super wide 20x12s in the rear. I don't remember the size in the front, shame on me. I shaved everything. I wanted a super clean look to this car. We shaved off all the gutters, the door handles. It has door poppers. We widened the rear. I painted all the trim black. I just really love the murdered out look for this thing. Added some tint. This is my Rolls-Royce Ghost. It was previously owned by Tristan Thompson. This was during his Kardashian years. There's a funny article that shows him going from one baby's mama hospital to the other baby's mama's hospital in this car. I thought that was a fun fact that I learned after I got it. I threw some Vossen 22-inch wheels on here. I'm huge on just nice, simple, clean wheels. Just like with the Chevelle we just looked at, I painted all the chrome trim black. And this one is the extended wheelbase, which is the more rare model, so it's got a huge back seat. Super huge back seats. Not a whole lot more about this one. Okay, moving on from the Rolls, this is my Lamborghini Aventador. This was actually the very first supercar that I bought. This kind of started the whole supercar infatuation, I guess. You're gonna start seeing that almost all my cars have aftermarket wheels on them. Again, because I own wheel and tire companies, it's kind of important, and I just love wheels and tires, really. So these have some bright red BC Forge wheels that really set it off. So two of my favorite things about supercars are huge wings and loud exhaust systems. So we threw a titanium custom exhaust on this thing. It's super loud, and naturally it has a carbon wing on it because that's my thing. Even though this is my first supercar and may have some sentimental value to it, I largely hate it. The single clutch transmission is so uncomfortable. This thing is so jerky, wide, heavy steering. Just not a huge fan of it. Moving on from the Aventador, I bought this Ford GT a little over a year ago. I threw on some neat dark bronze niche wheels. You have to be careful when you shut these doors because it has this wonderful little top device that will take your head right off if you're any bit over 6 feet, so you gotta kind of duck or remember to do that. This thing has a 6-speed manual transmission. I taught my wife how to drive stick and she did phenomenal actually in this thing. I love that the supercharger is right behind your head. There's a piece of glass right here and the supercharger is literally 1 inch behind the head, and it's just awesome to look back, hear the whine, and see the pulley just spinning rapidly there. We added a new head unit in there because it had a super dated head unit that didn't have Bluetooth. This is one of the cars that I'm gonna largely keep factory because they're trying to push me to do it. I just have a hard time wanting to modify this thing. I feel like this one kind of needs to stay original. We're gonna go over my primary daily now. This is one of our 2 Tesla Model X's. This one is the one that my wife drives. I told her to pick any color wheel that she wants. We had these custom powder coated, and naturally she picked hot pink. You'll note the curb rash on my wife's car. Those are entirely for me. I freaking, on the dailies, I just don't pay attention as well, and I curb the wheels constantly, and on some of the supercars. Not gonna spend too much time on this, but I love Teslas as a daily. They are my favorite by far. The autopilot is amazing. The technology is years ahead of anybody else. It is super comfortable, and I just like the fact that I don't have to fill it up with gas. It's just quiet, smooth, and awesome. My black Tesla Model X. So I drive this more than any other car, only first to the Bugatti, which I probably put the next most miles on my Bug. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but did throw some Axe wheels that one of the guys from Axe, Ben, hooked me up with these things for free, so why not? I think they look really clean, good. I blacked out all the chrome accents, and I will likely own a Tesla as a daily for the rest of my life.
When are you getting the Roadster?
They keep, it was supposed to be 2020, then 2022.
When are you getting the Cybertruck?
Who knows? The Saab. Who knows, but they're both on order. This is my wife's Land Rover Defender. She likes it because it's 7-passenger, I think. I keep telling her to sell it every day, but she just really likes it.
It's a Land Rover. it's just a Land Rover, man.
Yeah. This is my Rapid Blue Corvette C8 convertible. You might notice that it's not quite as super as the other cars, but I love it. The rest of the team doesn't seem to like it as much. Didn't even get the chance to drive it, and we decided to wide body it right away, so it went straight from the dealership to the auto body shop. It was the first convertible in the USA with a wide body kit. We did the Pandem wide body. It's such a cool kit, and it makes the Corvette just blend in with the supercars a little better, to be honest. You can just see how much wider it made the vehicle. Some of my favorite wheels that I've done in the whole collection, we did a matte black face on the 5-spoke with some gloss black lips on them, and these just look super clean. system. We added an aftermarket exhaust system. We had to wait until it was actually gonna work with the vehicle's computer before we could have it installed. So we also decided to add airlift, so it'll go up and down with ease. So I ordered this from the factory, and I am huge on color matched interiors. You'll see that on some of these vehicles, but this one, I had blue seats. It is kind of a cheap interior. There are, I don't know why, but Chevy decides to put like 9,000 buttons in there. So it's confusing. You're in there, you're like, yes. I just asked her to move some cars. She's struggling. If the app would work, it'd be great.
Remember how you're talking so highly about Teslas a second
ago? I know, right? There you go, you got it. I traded in my other orange McLaren for this McLaren because the other one was broke. I had to get another one because the other one just needed too much work. So I was gonna do a tune, I was gonna do additional downpipes so that I can break it, wash, rinse, repeat. However, I discovered I got an allocation for the 765 LT. So I'm gonna drive this thing for the next 6 months, trade it in for the 765 LT once that comes in, and then beat the crap out of that one. But this really is my favorite car of the entire collection. It's comfortable, it has a good user interface to it, it's extremely fast and extremely unreliable. They make the best windshields. And there's some glass in there, but that's okay. Tommy will clean it up. Some color match stitching. What else is there about this? Did you hear that? I didn't know she was right there. You gotta tell me where that is.
Smelliest farts is this guy.
You've got to tell me when she's there. We took the carbon spoiler off of the other 720 that I broke, put it on this one. The coolest thing about it is that when it's fully up, you can't see out of the back windshield.
Yeah, that's really safe.
It's amazing, very safe. You know what? Looks are more important than safety.
You can't say that.
This is my Lamborghini Countach. This is a 1987 LP5000 fuel-injected model. Flew all the way to the United Kingdom to go find this thing. I'm pretty picky when it comes to older cars. I need to make sure that they're very clean and they work well. So I got this and it needed a full engine rebuild. Great job, Steve. It has the triple white combo, the white wheels, the white interior, the white exterior, just like the Wolf of Wall Street model, even though the Wolf of Wall Street model is, I think, a year newer. Ready? I'm gonna do these lightning fast. So the windshield wiper only goes about this much. This is how much the window rolls down. The wing isn't functional. Headspace is a problem. Reverse is where first gear usually is. You can't wear shoes when you're driving. The horn makes you sound like a little baby girl. The AC basically doesn't work. It blows super light. Forget about seeing the dash at night, super dim. The gas gauge is broken. That's all I can remember for now, but there's lots more. Now we have to move it.
Your workout for the day, yeah?
What are you doing? It would have been so much easier to just start it.
I know. This is my Mercedes SLS AMG. It's actually black, but we vinyl wrapped it purple because we wanted to have all of the colors of the rainbow. Aftermarket wheels are on the way. I hate the way that it looks. We blacked out all the trim and it's still got some silver wheels on there, so that's gonna get fixed soon, I promise. Very masculine front end, very feminine rear end. Tommy likes the rear end. Super loud exhaust. Gold wing doors. So we've been over a bunch of different types of supercars, but we have not yet touched on Ferraris. Here is my yellow Ferrari 488 GTB, one of the only cars that I put a full aero kit on from Vorsteiner. Aero kit is great other than the fact that it rubs anywhere you go. You go up a teeny tiny little baby girl bump, it's gonna rub. In my opinion, my favorite wheels that I've chose for any vehicle are on this. Again, matte black face with the gloss black lip, just like the Corvette C8. These are 22 inch in the rear, 21 inch in the front. Yellow brake calipers matching the body of the car, which looks very sexy. We added a DMC wing to this that matches the carbon of the aero kit. We also did some carbon exhaust tips. This one has a very different interior setup. So a lot of the controls are right here on the steering wheel. You have your start stop right here. You have your blinkers here, which I freaking hate. It's so annoying having these here. Windshield wiper, cruise control, all right here. My horns right there. And then there's no drive. You have to actually paddle shift it into drive, which is pretty unique to this vehicle. I think there's only one or two other vehicles out of the collection that do that. Probably the worst head unit and stereo system out of all of the cars. That's all I got to say about that. This is my GTR and I hate it. We don't know what to do with it. Everybody on TikTok kept telling me to buy JDM, so I bought this here R35, and again, I hate it. My Audi R8 here was a wrecked car that was rebuilt by our team up in Wisconsin, branded title. We put an Alpha A10 twin turbo kit that sounds ridiculous. They did a fully custom exhaust. We do have a Vorsteiner wing and the El Gapo license plate. There's the custom exhaust that I talked to you about. It sounds beautiful. Natalia's put more miles on this thing than I have. It's just the company beater. So this is a one-of-one color, the Maritime Blue RWS model, super rare and super fast. It's got 1,000 horsepower to the rear wheels. It is one of the most comfortable cars, and I think that's why I drive it occasionally. Right now, you're going to see the most that I'm going to drive it over the next 3 months. Here we go. Ready?
That's it.
All right, cool. See you in 3 months.
This is the Porsche GT3 RS. It has the smallest engine in the whole collection. It has an inline 6-cylinder. It's lizard green. It's got the PDK transmission, which is the best transmission out of all the cars. It has a Dungeon pipe exhaust. I'm gonna start it up so you can hear it.
All right, so Jack did a pretty awesome job. A couple things he didn't mention is this is my workhorse. I absolutely love this car. It's probably my third or fourth favorite of everything. It sounds amazing, accelerates amazing. It just has it feels like a go-kart on the road, which sounds bad, but really it's awesome. This is the only one we've brought to the track, and we've brought a lot of them to the track. The only one I've brought that hasn't broken. We beast this thing, we've driven it more miles than any other car, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts, and that is what she said. This is my McLaren Zena. This was previously owned by Deadmau5, and it typically doesn't have these pink accents on it, but we did this and my Bugatti in pink for the month of October for breast cancer awareness. So we'll be pulling it off in a couple weeks, but I think it looks pretty awesome. And Bailey, our videographer right there, that's his favorite color is pink. He's trying to con me into doing it a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
So I love McLaren. McLaren is probably my favorite brand, but it's also the one that costs the most to my pocketbook to maintain. This one is no exception to that. It has been in and out of the shop pretty much the entire year. Goes into limp mode constantly, brakes. It's kind of my fault though, because we threw a fully custom exhaust system on it, tuned it, and I drive these things like I stole them. Hey Tommy, you're supposed to be cleaning these cars, dude. What?
I literally,
look at it.
For real, I got it washed yesterday morning. I pull it out, like I put it away in the garage, and we pull it out to go to. We don't care.
As you can see, it has a huge flipping wing, and this was actually my first hypercar that I bought. I have 3 hypercars, several on order, and this was the first one, and it started kind of the hypercar infatuation. So I think as I look for new cars, I'm typically leaning a little bit more hyper versus super. The only door that has a clear glass panel so you can see right into the passenger and driver's side. These seats are the most uncomfortable seats in all the cars. They are rock hard, and I freaking hate them. And then to compound that, the suspension on this thing is also the most stiff. So you're literally driving the car that feels the most bumps and has the hardest seats. It is, I can't drive this thing more than an hour. My back is on fire. So despite it being super uncomfortable, this car has probably the most carbon fiber that I've seen. The entire chassis is made out of carbon fiber to begin with. It has carbon accent here, carbon seats, carbon center console thingy. I don't even know what the parts are called. There's just a bunch of carbon. So also the only car that has like everything up here. Door handle releases up here, lock. If I want to adjust how hard the air conditioning blows, I have to hit this button right here. And finally, this car is one of the loudest that I have. Here's my McLaren P1. It is my most recent hypercar purchase. Everybody that has one of these says it's their favorite car in the collection. I would say it's like my 3rd favorite. I really like it. It sounds incredible. This one has a ton of carbon too. You can just freaking see all the carbon here. It's in race mode. The wing is fully erect and large. They hide the brake light in here. They designed the rear of this thing first and then wanted to make it functional after they did their awesome design. So they found a way to make the brake lights kind of tuck into there. You can't even see them. I love it. Except for that bush.
That's what she said.
Yep. Oh man. So there are 2 super cool buttons in here. This one lowers the spoiler when you're trying to go super fast, 200 miles an hour. I call that daily driving. And then the I-Pass button. So when you're hard accelerating or driving really fast, and this thing's already super fast when you are, and then you press that button, it reminds me of Fast and Furious when they hit the nitrous button. It has the volcano red color to it that looks beautiful. And last but not least, and the reason you're probably watching this video, the Bugatti Chiron. I absolutely love this vehicle. It is just super freaking powerful. 1500 horsepower, 16 cylinders. I always tell people it feels like a freight train with jet propelled engines behind me. When you hit the gas, this thing is faster than anything I've ever felt. The sheer just weight and torque behind you is absolutely incredible. They didn't do a video display or an LCD display in the center. They wanted to keep it really, really clean and timeless. So in 10 years, this thing should not look dated. And I think that was part of their goal. Super comfy interior. It is a pretty quiet car with the deepest rumble among all of the hypers and supercars. Speedometer goes to 300 miles an hour. That is, I don't think there's another car that I've got in the collection that has a 300 mile an hour speedometer. Beautiful, just super clean setup on the motor on the back. We did vinyl wrap it pink, so it's not typically pink. It typically has a really, really nice blue color, and I can't wait to turn it back blue, but we have it wrapped pink for breast cancer awareness this month. It's done a good job collecting money for charities, to be honest with you. We've raised some money by doing this pink wrap. So probably the coolest feature on this thing is the way that the headlights just kind of sync up as you lock and unlock it. So you take a look at it, look, it's just incredibly sexy. Let me do it again. Boom. I've never seen a car quite like that, and I freaking love it, and everybody that watches me do that to this car absolutely loves watching that. One of the little quirky features about it is when I hit 100 miles an hour pretty much every time I'm driving it, the windows tend to go up. So if you're gunning it really hard, after 90 miles an hour, it just rolls the windows up. And that's just kind of super annoying because I typically only go over 100 for a little bit. What I especially like about this car is that it's comfortable. Most of the supercars are not comfortable. It's fast, it's quiet, so I can drive it past 9 o'clock, so I'm not ticking off any neighbors. And the curb appeal, there is no car that has quite the curb appeal and gets the looks that this thing does. I tend to find myself driving this thing more than anything else. I've put almost 4,000 miles on this thing in a little over 6 months. And that doesn't sound like a lot for a daily, but when you've got, 20 plus other supercars to drive and an actual daily driver, that's a lot of miles. So I did miss a couple cars because they're either in the shop or inaccessible to me right now. I also happen to have 8 additional cars on order. I am super pumped about pretty much all of these cars. I have a Cadillac Escalade coming, the sport model with all blacked out trim. I have a Lamborghini Urus in the Verde Mantis color. I have a Hercules Rezvani Military Edition 6x6 arriving in like a week. The new Pagani C10, they have not made that public yet, but I have seen it, and I think they'll be making it public around March, and I think that's number 1 on the list. I have a Koenigsegg Jesko. I'm in the first 25% of allocations with that coming. I have a Koenigsegg Gemera, McLaren 765 LT, the Spider model, and we're doing that in the Papaya Spark.
You said the Koenigsegg, you said the Pagani,
2,
you said
yep.
the Escalade, the
Yep,
Urus.
yep.
Jessica?
Rezvani,
Rezvani.
and then what was the one we just did?
765, that's
Yep.
7. No, you got 8 cars in 7 days.
All right, well, hang tight to figure out whatever. It must be so exciting that I forgot it. So, yeah, you'll have to hang tight for that one. We'll figure it out later. All right.